cover her car insurance, her food, utilities. So we had to make sure that every one of those dollars stretched as much as possible. Now we're in a little bit better shape. I'm, of course, employed, and I can help out when I can. But this is something that we got to keep in mind, that there's some Americans that this is their sole source of income. So we need to make sure that we protect it. We make it sure that it's there for this generation, but also future generations. The 2100 Act is a great name, but the only person that's going to be around for the 2100 Act probably is my son Hodge and Joe Nagusa's kids. So we want to make sure that it is there for that future generation. So to Representative Larson and to the individuals in this room, we're going to fight every step of the way to make sure that Social Security is there for not only for my mother, but people's parents all over the country. With that, I yield to Annie Custard, the New Dems chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Annie Custer. I'm the chair of the New Democrat Coalition. We're nearly 100 of the members of our Democratic caucus, and we support the extension of Social Security. You know, as I've been listening to these stories and people's family, my mother-in-law was living on Social Security. Same story, Jimmy. She'd worked her heart out her entire life, but didn't have pension. And I just remember sitting with her and trying to go through the budget. Thank God for federal housing, but $1,000 a month and $12,000 a year. And as John said, you know, if $18,000 is the average, then many are much less than that. You can see the diversity of the Democratic support in our caucus for this and why it's going to make a difference. In my district, 160,000 people, and we're talking about the default and the debt ceiling. I think it sounds very much inside the Beltway, the negotiations. Where are we? Are they at the White House? Are they back here? What's the number? I'm thinking about my constituency. I'm thinking about the Social Security beneficiaries who are the first that will miss a check and the least able to miss that check. They cannot afford the life that they're living unless they get that check. They don't have savings, many of them. If you're living on $12,000 a year, and I think about women of my generation and older who didn't have pension. They worked hard, but they didn't get the wages that they deserved. They were, at best 75 cents on the dollar to the male wages, and many of them far less. Certainly people of color, women of color, the wages were far less. And they weren't in jobs that had retirement savings. They weren't in jobs that had pensions and had a union and had somebody to protect them. So we're all here to support John, who has been tenacious, the definition of perseverance.
Oh no, friends. Economists have released a warning to all lawmakers in Congress and the American people. A debt default may affect low to middle income households even more than expected. There is a list of several states that are expected to feel the impacts of the debt default even more. So if you reside in one of these states, you are likely to see your benefits delayed. My dearest friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video for all of the details. Also, this coming Friday, I will be announcing more winners for the $75 Walmart gift card giveaway. My dearest friends, if you'd like to enter the weekly giveaways, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning the giveaways. With negotiations on raising the debt ceiling still ongoing, the United States may be less than 2 weeks from defaulting on its debt. It is an unprecedented scenario that government officials have described as unthinkable and potentially catastrophic. A default would mean the U.S. government fails to pay some of its obligations because Congress failed to raise a debt ceiling to authorize borrowing more money to fund spending it already passed. Its impact would be felt by anyone expecting funds from the government, whether a Social Security check, SNAP payment, a government bond payout, or in the case of federal employees, a regular paycheck. Economists at Moody's Analytics stated in a new report, most state economies will be hit hard if there is such a debt limit breach, although the economic pain varies. Washington, D.C., where 1 in 4 jobs are tied to the federal government, would be hardest hit. States with large federal facilities, such as national laboratories or military bases, would be next in line. That includes Hawaii, Alaska, and New Mexico. And in this scenario, 1.5 million people would lose their jobs, pushing unemployment from its current rate of 3.4% to 5%, while the nation's gross domestic product would shrink by 0.7%. As U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen noted, federal employees and contractors may show up to work not knowing if they'll get paid. That creates a precarious situation in Washington, D.C., where more than a quarter of employees work for the federal government. But it also would have reverberations across the nation. That includes many small rural counties where many local residents are employed by the federal government in agencies such as the U.S. Forest Service. The top 20 counties with high numbers of federal employees represent a large swath of the nation, including states in the West, Midwest, and in the South. There are 45 counties where at least 1 in 20 residents is a federal employee. Moody's Analytics also assesses the potential damage from a default lasting several months. It is an outcome, it said, would be cataclysmic. The federal government would have no option but to slash its spending by about $150 billion. The turmoil would also likely depress stock prices by nearly 20%, vaporizing $10 trillion in household wealth held in 401k plans and pension funds. The cost of borrowing for households and businesses would also soar. So, dear friends, what do you think that our government should do to avoid a debt default? Please let me know in the comment section below. But with this chaos, there are several groups of lawmakers currently working together to come up with their own plans to help low-income households in their state. Lawmakers in Illinois are hoping a proposed child tax credit can help working families. Under this legislation recently introduced to the Illinois General Assembly, low and middle-income families would receive a $700 income tax credit for each child under the age of 17. Joint filers earning less than $75,000 and single filers earning less than $50,000 a year will be eligible. Illinois State Senator Mike Simmons told CNBC News, "Working parents are struggling worse than ever before. It is time for the state to create a permanent child tax credit that puts money back into pockets of parents in Illinois so that parents can take care of their children and communities can begin to recover." Another group is pushing for the child tax rebate to return in the state of Connecticut. A group called the Connecticut Child Tax Credit Coalition held a news conference to urge the state to send checks once again to parents. The group said, now there's an even greater need for this kind of help. Advocates said they would also like to see it increase to $600 per child. They argued it is only getting more expensive to raise a family. So friends, how do you think that our government should help us with the rising costs of everything? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Well, my most marvelous and magnificent friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this morning. Thank you so much, friends, for being here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners in just a few days for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.